Hello everyone, welcome to my Last of Us Part 2, grounded difficulty, no damage, no crafting, no upgrades, no saves walkthrough, and this is Seattle Day 3 for Ellie's section. And in the beginning of this encounter right here, you need to sprint, and then you need to dive to prone at the right moment so you can get inside that grass, and then you need to get inside this building, dive to prone to get past the enemies on your right, go through here, and then there's going to be an opportunity for you to use a distraction in order to get past these three enemies over here. And I'm telling you right now, guys, the auto-aim on this bottle screwed me to no end. I have at least 3 bloopers of me getting screwed by the bottle on this section, because I'm somehow able to hit that guy on the left so easily, even though he's all the way off to the right on the right side of my camera. It's incredible. You're gonna really understand just how powerful the auto aim on the bottles are, and also with the bricks. But once those enemies have gotten past that woman and she turns so that she's not facing you, you need to come over to this spot right here. This is generally where you won't get screwed by the auto aim, and you need to blind fire your bottle so that you can throw it over into that corner there. It'll cause all 3 of these enemies to look in that direction, and then you need to use the dive to prone in order to move very fast. And I don't know the exact spot where you're allowed to start sprinting, but I would assume it's right around here, because I have no idea where this woman is with the sniper rifle. But once you get over here, the section's practically done. You just gotta make sure you get to that van and just hop over it in order to get past that section. And then now we move on to this encounter right here, which is incredibly easy. And even when you don't have a distraction, there is this brick over here that you can use. I'm going to use this brick in order to lure this dog away. And you never see that dog in the encounter select for some reason. It's very odd. But while they're distracted, I'm going to hug the right-hand side, and I'm just going to stay in the grass right here. I'm not going to use the dive to prone method right here, because there's a sniper that can potentially see you when you're doing the method. And I'm just going to go inside this building here. This is all incredibly simple, so I'll just discuss Seattle Day 3. So, as you can tell, when you're factoring in only the encounters and also the moments where you're able to pick up ammunition, Seattle Day 3 is incredibly short. This video is roughly 15 minutes long because the strategies that I laid out in this video are essential if I'm trying to do this run right here. But if I wasn't caring about the restrictions whatsoever, I could have easily gotten this chapter done in about 8 minutes, because the big stealth encounter with the WLF where you're trying to steal their boat, it took me almost 10 minutes to do using the strategy that I laid out in my survivor difficulty walkthrough, and it took even longer because I was getting some weird AI bugs in this particular encounter coming up, because for some reason the AI was saying quotes that they normally do when they're trying to investigate distractions, but they weren't actually trying to investigate distractions. And I was also getting moments where awareness indicators would appear, but no one would be investigating me, or they wouldn't be able to see me. I don't know why this bug occurred, but I'm amazed I managed to get it on the attempt where I managed to succeed. So it's not in the blooper section, it's actually coming up in a moment. So I'm just going to transition over here because that encounter was easy, and now we have this big encounter. So the first thing you're going to have to do is dive underwater, and you need to go into this building over here. You need to resurface for oxygen, because I believe on grounded difficulty, your oxygen depletes faster than usual. At least that's what it felt like to me. Or maybe it's just exactly the same as in survivor difficulty. I mean, you can't really tell how much oxygen you have because you don't have any HUD. So the moment your controller starts vibrating, you need to resurface for oxygen very quickly. You need to come over to this side of the building, and when you're going through these squeeze spaces, make sure you're always crouched so that you move through them very quickly, compared to just being stood up while you're going through them. And then you need to go underwater, and this is where you're most likely going to lose a lot of oxygen, because your controller's going to be vibrating a lot. So I normally go on the left escalator, but this time I choose to go on the right escalator. And there's this guy right here. Watch out for this guy, because his turning animations can screw you. He can spot you sometimes whenever you're trying to get over to this side right here. And when you are going into the water, do not jump into the water, just walk into the water. Because if you jump into the water, you're going to have a lot of delay when it comes to getting out of the water. I don't know why this is the case, but it's really dumb. So always make sure you walk into the water and not jump into the water. Now what you're going to have to do is stay on the right-hand side so that the guy behind you doesn't see you. And then you need to wait for these 2 enemies to go off on particular routes that indicates that it is time to mantle up to where they are. So what you're waiting for is for this woman right here to go away from you, and also for the sniper to go off to the left. And they always do this in about 2 cycles, so this is the point where the strategy is going to work. So this sniper doesn't stay still for very long, And she tends to do turning animations very rarely, but this woman right here, the one I'm heading towards right now, she does a lot of turning animations, but it doesn't screw me in the slightest. You need to get rid of a couple of enemies in this encounter. These two enemies are included in that particular group, because they can spot you a lot whenever you're trying to take out the enemies down below. And that sniper's gone off to the right, and I'm watching this woman right here, making sure she's not doing any kind of bad turning animation, and I'm just gonna take her out. The enemies are very quick to spot you whenever you're crouch walking. I noticed that a lot whenever I was trying to get behind them, but I always got the triangle prompt every time, so they never really got a chance to fully spot me, and even if they did kind of spot me, it would still give me the option to do so, which was very helpful. And there's just this sniper left, and instead of going around the left side of this crate over here, I'm just going to go around the right side, and the moment she gives me her back, I'm just going to dodge right into her, so that I can just get rid of her very quickly. And then once I get rid of her, I'm going to go over to the opposite side of the mall, and I'm going to take out the two enemies that are there. There's one on the same level as I am, and then there's another one directly below him. I get rid of these two enemies because they can be very random, and I don't want any kind of randomness whatsoever in this strategy, because this encounter forces you to get rid of a lot of enemies, because when you're trying to power up the boat, it makes noise. So obviously you have to get rid of them. I'm perfectly okay with that, but what I'm not okay with is some of the enemy placements, because the turning animations screw you a lot, and they put a sniper who is guarding the boat, and because of that, you have to use at least 2 arrows on him in order to ensure that he doesn't spot you while you're getting rid of the other enemies. So I take out this guy right here, and then I'm going to use the bottle that I have in order to lure the enemy that is directly below me up to where I am. And then this is where the bugginess of the AI is going to come into play. I don't know why I got this bug, but this is the very first time I've ever seen this before. But it doesn't impact the flow of the strategy too much. And watch this. I'm going to speed up the video here because this woman takes a while to investigate the distraction because she moves very slowly up this escalator. And then watch the subtitles. For some unknown reason, 2 wolves start making quotes that they normally do when they're investigating a distraction, but they're not investigating the distraction at all. They're just going on their normal paths. And then when I kill this person right here, the guys to my right are going to call out to her, which is happening right now, as you can tell by the subtitles. And normally what happens is when you kill an enemy in a threshold that the other enemies can't seem to get to whenever you're in a stealth profile, they know omnisciently that you killed a person, and they just signal to everyone that they just found a body even though they didn't, and that just causes everyone to go into their investigative status. But that didn't happen right here. I don't know why this happened. That is the only time I've ever seen this kind of bug before. So, Naughty Dog, I don't know why your AI can do these really stupid things, but please fix them. Even though you're not going to be watching this video, seeing as I'm a very small channel on YouTube. But weird stuff just happened just then. And I'm glad I made the cut right there, because it really goes to show just how awkwardly programmed the AI is in this game compared to the first Last of Us, where, because of how simple the AI was in the first Last of Us, they weren't so clunky in their designs. But right now, what I'm trying to do here is I'm waiting for that guy right there to go off to the left, and this signals me to actually jump into the water, and I'm not going to go too far ahead, because I'm going to submerge, because the other guy will potentially spot you if you are out of the water for a little too long. And right now, I'm just going to go over to this spot right here, and this is where you need to have a distraction. The game gives you a distraction right here, so that's good. And what I'm waiting for is for that sniper to be in that same spot where he is right now, and also for these two enemies to be relatively close to each other, so that when I use a distraction, they're both going to look in the direction of the distraction, and this will buy me an opportunity to take out the sniper using my bow and arrow. And the safest way to dispatch this sniper is to hit him in the leg, and then finish him off with your second arrow. That way, you're not having to run the gamut with the randomness of the headshots, because it's very hard to judge how far the enemies are from you, given that the bow and arrow utilizes a reticle-based system, rather than a laser-sighted system. So I shoot him in the leg, and then I'm going to take him out before he has a chance to recover. Resident Evil 4 Design 101, used in a stealth section. How cool is that? But all that's left to do now is to get rid of these two guys. Well, so watch this. This guy is displaying the bug again, where for some reason, he's reverting to his investigative status, but then he just resumes his normal patrol. How very odd. I don't know why this bug is here, but that is just so weird in so many ways. But whatever, let's just resume what we were doing. So, I normally take out the guy on the left, but last time I did so, the guy on the right spotted me very quickly, so I'm instead going to take out the guy on the right, and I'm going to speed up the video here because I spent at least a minute waiting for these guys to go in the correct direction so that I could take out this guy on the right. The guy on the right will come over to where you are, and then the moment he gives you his back and the other guy goes off to the left, that is your opportunity to take him down. And also, watch this. So, I've been crouch walking behind these enemies without them noticing me that quickly, but why was it so different with this guy? Like, imagine if he heard me earlier than not. This would have been a reset entirely. So dumb that the enemies can be stupidly aware at times. But I've sped up the video here again, just so I can take out this guy. And this is the last enemy you have to kill. And all we need to do now is get inside of the boat. And when you start pumping the boats, the enemies are going to be aware of you. So you need to pump this boat very quickly. But the enemies will not have enough time to catch up to you, because you've killed the enemies that were closer to the boat, while the enemies further away from the boat will not have enough time to set up in positions where they will be able to shoot you while you're getting inside of the boat. This is pretty much the end of the section. As soon as you get out of here, the enemies will stop their pursuit. I'm just going to transition over to the moments where I'm just going to be picking up ammunition. And I was lucky enough to find shotgun shells and also some pistol bullets that would definitely be helpful for the bloater fight. Although, I mean, I don't use the pistol, I use the revolver. And the 5 shotgun shells were really damaging against the bloater. And I really feel like the bloater fight is only good when you have the 5 shotgun shells, because as I've already shown in my blind playthrough, the bloaters take ridiculous amounts of punishment before they actually go down. And I don't like that at all, because the bloaters in the first Last of Us were very dangerous if you let them be dangerous, but they didn't get all these stupid artificial handicaps that would allow them to just feign lethality. Like, you used the Molotov against the bloater, and then you followed up with a couple of shots, and they would be dead. And that felt like a really balanced enemy, but this one, you know, because they're reserving the bloaters as a boss variant, you're having to be very reliant upon very specific weapons in order to get rid of these guys. But I got this on the first attempt, so when you start this encounter on the very first instance, you will always do a ranged attack. So I'm able to put in 3 shotgun shells before I need to dodge. There's the 4th shotgun shell. I'm going to pump 1 more shot in, and all it'll take right now is 3 revolver shots. But that runner is closing in on me, so I gotta be very careful. He's dead, and all I need to do now is use my machete. And that is the end of Seattle Day 3 for Ellie's section. And before I conclude the commentary, here are a couple of bloopers. And watch the auto-aim on this bottle. See that? He was all the way off to the right. And the same thing's about to happen again. Look at this. So stupid. He's not even being highlighted by the reticle, and he's being prioritized by the auto-aim. And then this right here, I tried to mash R2, but I think Jesse was in the camera's view, even though he wasn't visible on my screen. So it caused the bottle to clip on him and just delay my input, which was so stupid for that to happen. But anyway, that is the end of Seattle Day 3. Stay tuned for the future parts. Thank you all for watching, and you take care now.